Good afternoon, everyone. This is your host, Sammy_NCR. We are joined by the Colin Webb and also, let alone Webby, and then also Justin4261. Say hi to the podcast, guys.
What's
What
up?
up? Happy holidays, everyone.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and get this started. So, for our first topic, guys, we're going to be talking about the predictions from last week. And we're going to have obviously some smack talk time between Webby and Justin. They're going to go at it a little bit. I'm going to let them go at it. You guys can talk about predictions, what happened this past week, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Man. Let's talk some smack, Webby.
Okay.
How about those games?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good weekend. I thought Saturday night was awesome. Love seeing my team win. But I think that the Dolphins, to their credit, played really good. So I can't really say much about them. Definitely a little bit surprised about the Cowboys game. I was not expecting that result. But you know what? Kudos to the Jaguars. Thought they played pretty well. The ending definitely surprised me as well. So, yeah.
I mean, what do you think about, this past week, man? Like, there's a history game.
History.
So,
Oh yeah.
what do you
That
think about
Minnesota.
that, man? It's crazy,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not gonna lie. I was only able to watch like the first half. Had to go to work, so I couldn't watch the second half. But watching those highlights, I was like, "What the heck?" I was checking the scores on my phone. I was like, "How in the heck is it like 36-28 with like
Yeah,
4 minutes to go?" It blew my mind. I was completely shocked about that. It was
I
awesome.
was just wondering if I was watching football. I
Yeah,
was like, dude, the only other time like this ever happened was, against Brady, really. So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, the
pretty
Vikings,
crazy.
holy crap. Like watching that game, I was like, yep, my whole thing with the Vikings not really being a really good contender. It's kind of solidified the whole thing. And then just to see them come back and just play out of their mind. I mean, Justin Jefferson and um, Kirk Cousins, they put on a show, and I was just like, whew, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like I don't know what to say about them because like the first half, you're just like, whoa, what the heck is going on? Like they're making every mistake possible. And then the second half, it's like a completely different team. So it just, I guess, depends on what team shows up.
I'm just wondering, like, what team is the most trash out of all of them right
Yeah,
now
like
that's in those playoff spots? I want to know what you think. Which team is like trash? Which team is not going to make it
in the
past round
NFC.
one?
Oh, in the NFC, I would definitely have to say if the Giants make it, they're out round one. I mean, that's like my easiest answer. Maybe the Bucks too. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I caught you on that one, and I actually don't mind your pick of the Bucks, to be honest, because we deserve it. But we'll get to that later on. Um, for me, it's the Cowboys, man. It's always been the Cowboys. I'll get in more into detail later on in one of these other segments, but the Cowboys are my pick for that as the most trash team
Man,
that's in the playoff spots.
I am shocked you guys didn't talk about this past week on how, Webby was pumping up a couple of teams. He was like, this team has it, and Justin was like, no, this team doesn't, with the whole Miami and Bills, or like, the Cowboys and the
We'll get
Jags.
to that
Like
when it comes, Sammy. We'll
it's
get to that
definitely,
when it
oh
comes.
yeah,
It's
no, we'll
gonna get
definitely,
brought up. It's gonna get
yep.
brought up. Y'all
We'll,
viewers have nothing to miss. We're gonna go over it.
Hey, I
I'm gonna
mean,
eat him alive.
yep.
He's gonna eat me alive. So
one
we'll
loss
get to
to
see
me
both.
out of every other prediction and thing I've said, I'll
Yep.
take it. Whatever. You know what?
Yep. I love it. All right, guys. So we're gonna go to to our next segment here. So Colts blow a 33-point lead against the Vikings in the third quarter, the largest comeback in history, with the final score of 39-36. How did this come to happen, and who should be to blame? And I'll go ahead and start this off. The NFL has been around for over 102 years now. Believe it or not, never never ever has there been a comeback that epic. I must say that comeback was absolutely insane. You know, and it's just sad to see. I want to put the blame here on Matt Ryan. I want to put the blame here on the coaching staff. I want to put the blame on the Colts defense for not even holding them at all that second half after they put up that such a good performance after the first half. It was just insane just to watch. Like, it just felt like the defense was just falling like flat-footed in that second half, and then I like, what is this play calling the Colts is doing? The first half, or the second half, I'm sorry. The second half, they had it in the bag. They didn't, all they have to do is almost run down the fucking clock. That's all they have to do. They're playing against the clock. They're not playing against anything else but the clock. The Vikings is the one that has to come back, not them. So why in the world are they just throwing it to the sides and throwing it away? And then when they're doing these run plays, they're not even trying to mix things up. They're not having any like motions. Nobody in motion. They're not having like these run plays that that are different. But like I said, I think all they needed to do was run down that clock, and the game was theirs. They didn't need to do anything else. They didn't have to put up any more points. They didn't. The game was sealed. And they were just like, nah, we're just going to let this comeback happen. And Matt Ryan had his flashback back to the Super Bowl when the Patriots did him dirty. I know he did. I know he had that flashback. And that's exactly what happened. And now, congratulations, Matt Ryan. You just made one of the worst lists possible. The biggest comeback in history. And now you're on the receiving end of that. So that's my take on it. That's my take on it. And like I said, the one I put the blame here is, honestly, I want to put it on Matt Ryan. At this point in time, he should have just retired at this point. It's just sad. It really is. I used to love watching Matt Ryan. He had a lot of talents. I was like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. But when it comes to these tight situations, he folds. And he's done it time and time again. And he did it again. That's my take on it.
Dude, like Matt Ryan, he looked like his old self in the first half. He was completing passes. He was doing a really nice job. They were getting first downs. They were getting touchdowns. So, and if they didn't, they got stopped. They got a field goal. They still got points on the board like every possession they had in the first half. But to toss that, I have to give it to the Vikings coaching staff. The Viking coaching staff, remember, they're down going to the locker room. They've been shut out. So that Vikings coaching staff did something in that locker room to wake them up. And I applaud them for that. They have a really nice coaching staff. If they were able to do that, it's definitely them that pumped that team up, because honestly, if I was down that much, I might have just lost hope for the game. That's me. What about you, Webby?
I mean, I'm putting the blame on the Colts coaching staff for that loss, because as a coach, you're supposed to always put your players in the best situations possible. Mm-hmm. And for them to not only, like, just watching some of those highlights and watching some of those plays, the defense looked out of sync. Offense looked out of sync. It just it looked like a totally different team. And to me, that just comes down to coaching. And not only will Matt Ryan have that record on his name, but so will their head coach, Jeff Saturday, who,
it's true.
He was a new midterm head coach, came into this thing, a lot of haters, a lot of doubters, and he was about to get a bunch of praise. I remember looking at Twitter and seeing all those things about, Saturday on Saturday, 33-0 lead in the first half.
Yeah.
And then just for him to blow it like that to me, I don't know. That it's just got to hurt as a coach to have that on your name. So I'm putting
Doesn't
it
look
on them.
good.
Yeah, doesn't look good at all. I mean, if he's looking to get hired as a full-time head coach, I mean, he's just going to have that one sitting over his head. So
It does suck, but you got to remember, it's not just the coaching staff because they're not out there on the field.
right,
Like
execution has to be there too, for sure. And I'm not.
exactly, and
Yeah,
it just looked like they weren't executing their defense. Like the defense
yeah,
just fell asleep out there. Like they just
yeah.
forgot who Dalvin Cook was, and then they just let Oswald run all over them and catch these balls. And I was just like, man, like, what am I watching right now? What's going on? Then they get the first 7 points up on the board, so it was all steamrolling from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after that, guys, we're just gonna go ahead into the next segment because I'm like I said, we've hit everything we had about that because that was embarrassing if you're a Colts fan.
Kudos to the
And
Vikings, though. I mean, shoot.
yeah, and wow, what a great comeback from the Vikings. Way to stay in contention still. That's a big round of applause for
It's
that
a
because wow,
big thing on Kirk Cousins
that
too,
was
because
insane.
this puts this on his belt now. So Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins might have a chip on his shoulder after this game.
yeah.
So look out for the Vikings.
Yep. So, but we're going to head into this next segment, guys. So, once the snow started falling at the start of the fourth quarter, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills found themselves in the element against the warm-weathered Miami Dolphins and end up beating Miami 32-29 with a late fourth quarter field goal. With this win, Bills seal a playoff spot. Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
So, did you guys think the Miami Dolphins lost solely due to being out of their element? Or was Josh Allen too much to handle for that Miami defense? We'll hear you guys' take.
So I want to say I think it definitely is a little bit of both because, I mean, granted, playing in the snow and playing in the cold is not easy for anybody, not any player because you start to stiffen up. I mean, just everything changes, but I mean, just that the offense in the first half of the Bills just looked unstoppable, and then I think that with coaching and the Miami head coach coming in and scripting a game plan in that second half really turned the tide for them. I don't know if the snow really had anything to do with it. I think it was more of just less Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things in the second half and just being able to close out that game. But honestly, like Miami looked good, and I think they're definitely going to be a playoff threat going forward. I just don't think any defense really knew how to stop any offense. Both of them look flat, and it could be just because of the snow and being slick on the field. Not sure, but yeah, it definitely looked different after it started snowing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it looked like a completely different game as soon as it started snowing. I mean, you look out there and some of the shots that we saw, right? It looks like you can barely see out there. It's just white
Yeah,
everywhere. So, the Dolphins decided to go there wearing, white jerseys. I mean, that's just crazy because like how can Tua even see his team, you know?
yeah,
So if we're talking about running game, definitely the Bills had that one as soon as it started snowing. Tyreek Hill was stopped completely that game after it started snowing. They couldn't get in touch and actually almost got a pick six a couple of times. I don't know if you saw those, but
yeah,
it was definitely some crazy throws there by Josh Allen. There also in that game. Not only could he run the ball, but he can also throw it. So he was showing the league and everyone out there that he can get it done. But like I said, he does this every year, and then in the playoffs, man, he just
okay.
can't get
Let's
it
not get
done.
into that.
And I mean, it's not really me blaming Josh Allen. I'm just saying that that's Josh Allen's team. So when I say Josh Allen, I'm talking about Josh Allen in that group because he
Yeah,
is their guy. He is their captain. Their star quarterback. So he runs everything for the most part. So let's just see what the playoffs hold. But the Dolphins, man, they just might drop out of the playoffs. they're at the point now where if they lose a game or two coming into the playoffs, they might lose their spot.
Yeah, I mean they can't. They got to stop losing. That's the thing because now they're 8-6 or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't remember what the record is, but
And I mean, I
yeah,
was high on the Dolphins, man.
yeah. So if they don't watch out, they could fall out of the playoffs. But I think after this past 3 games where they went on that losing streak to San Francisco and then to the Chargers and then now the Bills. I mean, those are 3 playoff teams. Those are 3 playoff caliber teams. So you got to be able to show up, especially in the playoffs against those kind of teams, because you're going to be facing good defenses and you're going to be put off your spot. You're not going to be just playing these mediocre defenses where you can just run all over them. So they definitely got to figure something out. I think they were close, and I think that the Bills kind of showed that that it is possible because of them. But yeah, they got to turn things around.
It's showing that loss with Von Miller. It's starting to show. It really is, and I'm surprised Justin didn't even talk about that because honestly, for me, it's starting to show. And I feel like I said, I don't. Obviously he's not like like to the point where it like, oh my goodness, like it dramatically hurts, but it shows like maybe that leadership that he brings out there when he's not out there. Maybe that's what it is, and maybe right now they just need somebody to step up to the plate and fill in his shoes to be that leader that the Bills need for the defense. Because when these playoffs hit, these teams are obviously going to turn it up to 100, and they're going to go all out. They're not going to care about anything. They want to advance. That is the goal.
Well, I'm not going to say that there was any kind of drop off in terms of production on the defensive line, but it did kind of worry me as a Bills fan and watching the game how they just allowed them to run the ball so effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bills run a nickel defense like 90% of the times. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Basically, you have 5 DBs, 2 linebackers. So they don't have an extra big man in there to be able to – they don't load the box up. So it's a lot easier to run the ball in that kind of defense. So maybe that's something that the Bills have to look at and maybe stop running that type of defense so often and maybe
Mix it up.
go into the base.
Mix it up.
Yeah,
Don't do the same.
The thing I have,
plays.
I would say like the most critique I have for that team right now is like watching Josh Allen. When he decided to run in the snow like that, I mean, he was putting himself out for injury. And I understand that he's a big guy.
Yeah.
But as we get closer and closer to these playoffs, they need to make sure their star quarterback is healthy, because if he runs like that, it's snowing out there. So if he slips and somebody lands on his leg or something and he's out for the rest of the season, man, that Bills team is nothing without Josh Allen.
You're not wrong. I mean, that's what a lot of people say too. And I mean, I agree. Like no fan wants to see that guy can do that. But
I'm saying I'm surprised you didn't bring that up in the first place, talking about how scared you are for Josh Allen getting injured.
But I mean, time and time again, I watched him and I'm like, dude, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. But just like he hits
he just
somebody,
overcomes it somehow,
and then it's just like I don't know. It like turns a light on. Like he turns into a different monster. So I kind of like it in some ways, but at the same time,
I know he's got to be in pain after these games, man. He has to be in pain.
I mean, there's no way that he's not. I mean, I don't know.
But I just think it's eventually going to take a toll on him, and it's going to affect his play in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and he did this what, last year, and I mean
he's been doing it his entire career, like from day one. Like he runs the ball, he runs people over, he stiff arms them, he jumps over them. I mean, it's just like
I don't think I've ever seen him try to get a touchdown off of like a 60-yard run in the snow. I don't think I've ever seen that of Josh Allen. So
no.
That's why I was
pretty
worried.
cool to watch, but it was also scary to watch.
That's why I was
worried. I mean, I think when he gets older, he's gonna have to change something. Like he's not gonna be able to do that. But yeah, it's a part of his game. Like he always says in all of his press conferences, like I'm a football player. That's what I want to do. Like I'm not scared of getting hit. I'm gonna do what I can to win, and I think that helps. But availability is more important. So we'll just have to see. I mean, I don't know.
Yep. We're just gonna have to see. But as of right now, like I said, congrats to those Bills stealing that playoff spot. So congrats to you
Yep.
guys.
Still
Obviously,
number one.
That's a big win, yes, and that's another big win too. And it would have been crazy if Kansas ended up losing because that would have solidified you guys as number one.
That would have
If
been
they
crazy,
would've-
and
that
that
would
would
have
have
been
been against
insane.
what I said last stream. Because what I said last stream was that Kansas City has no chance of losing to the Texans, and the Bills do have a chance of.
They are
losing to the
turning it
Dolphins.
up. Those Texans
Which
are
they
actually
did.
shocking. That's
Which they
twice.
did.
That's twice now they went against two really good teams, and they almost ended up coming out with the win. That's insane.
Yep.
Yeah, the Texans haven't been playing like this the entire season.
If they were playing like this from the week one,
would've had a
do you
couple more
guys
wins.
do you guys think that it would have?
Yeah, they would
been
they
a
would have
different
had a couple
outcome?
more wins. I think
I
they
don't
would've had a couple
know.
more wins. They feel with these last two games, they feel a little bit more awake.
Right
'cause
now
they got
they're just
close
playing
to winning both
spoiler.
of those games.
Right now they're just
Yeah.
playing spoiler, right? Because they're gonna
Yeah.
get that number one draft, and like I said, right now they're in dire need of a quarterback. So I know what they're going for their first pick. So, and I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
everybody
but I
does.
mean, they went for Deshaun Watson, and look what happened there. So they need
I
a
don't know, like-
quarterback that's really good, but that can last. And
I still think
they-
they
this
get
is a little
quarterback.
I think
off
Deshaun
topic.
Watson was great.
Yeah, I
for
think
them.
this. I mean, is a little bit off topic, but I don't know. It's like there's a quarterback in the draft, but do teams really value those quarterbacks anymore? Because you see a lot of these guys that come out of college are more of those like scrambler, like run around. They're not like a statue passer.
Like
I
Trevor
think they'll-
You
Lawrence
don't
did,
have
right?
that
like Trevor
old
Lawrence.
school, right? You don't have that old school pocket
So-
passer, right?
It's kind of interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see, like, because they need a lot of different other positions too. So maybe adding like a dominant edge rusher would help them more
Yeah.
than getting a quarterback.
I think what makes teams last is having a big quarterback that's tall and that's more of a pocket passer than a runner. Because
Yeah.
with
It
the
does really, yeah.
if anything has told me anything in these last couple years of watching football, it's injuries from the quarterback, and it happens on a lot of these runs. So
Lamar Jackson,
It's-
Kyler Murray.
If they go for
college
this-
and the NFL
If
are
they draft
completely
this
different,
running
and
quarterback, then-
and having them change their style of how they play as a quarterback is really hard. There's only a couple, maybe less than a handful of quarterbacks that's actually been able to do it, including Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, that can still scramble and that still can, be that person to get the job done. But at the end of the day, those are what, 1 in a fucking million. It's not
Right.
it's not often you come across them. But we're gonna go into this next segment, guys. So Cowboys blow a 17-point lead and loss versus Jaguars. Was up 27-10 in the third quarter. Dak Prescott throws an OT pick six, ends up losing the game. Who bears the responsibility for the Cowboys' collapse? Justin, we'll start with you, and then we'll go around.
I can just tell you, Webby. Dude, last week you said the Cowboys are better. They look better than the Eagles. You were boosting the Cowboys, and I was calling you and Sammy out on this. Man, dude, listen. The Cowboys every year do this, and they do it in round one of the playoffs very often. If they can't find a way to win against these lower end under 500 teams, then what makes you think they're going to win in the playoffs? They still haven't proved me anything that changes my opinion otherwise. And it's just facts. They lose round one every single year. And I think it's Bears' responsibility on Jerry Jones and how he runs that group. And if that doesn't, show you proof right there, then I don't know what does.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of your takes there, and I admit that I was a little bit wrong, and I underestimated the Jaguars a little bit, because what they have shown me is that they have been a little bit more consistent, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing a lot better, which is, I think, part and responsibility for their recent success. However, I can't be inconsistent with my take on the Cowboys. I feel like they definitely let one get loose. They've kind of let one get loose a couple of weeks now. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with their focus, which is more or less on the Eagles this upcoming Saturday. I feel like they've lost focus and they haven't been as consistent with what they do best, which is get after the passer, because I think their sack numbers have gone down the last couple of weeks. So I really put the responsibility on their defense and not being able to get after the quarterback like they have shown they can do with Micah Parsons and that defensive line
Yeah.
that they have. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that they're a Super Bowl bound team, because I feel like with their front office and a lot of the culture that they have, it's going to hold them back. I feel like that they have the talent to get there, but with Dak Prescott and his limitations, and then also the defense not playing as well, they're definitely looking pretty bad. So I would say just from last week, it would be their defense.
Yeah, I do agree with you in some aspects, but man, I can't believe it. I mean, I'm sure that's what people are thinking right now, but I believe it. The Cowboys do this every single year. So I don't see why anybody wouldn't put the blame on Jerry Jones and how he runs that group, because clearly it is. It's been 20 years. So
yeah, been a long time.
This guy's
Indeed.
old and you need him out of there ASAP. You guys need to rebuild from within and then build a team. I think it's just a whole morale thing about their team. It's sad because when we look at different sports, we look at, baseball, for instance, we got the Yankees. Look how that group's being ran. And I mean, the Yankees are always in the playoffs. And it's pretty much America's team.
Yeah.
So
make a lot of good points.
People don't even buy Cowboys jerseys anymore. I rarely even see anybody walking around with a Cowboys jersey. Listen to this. Cowboys fans wear a hat because they're disappointed. They're disappointed in their team.
Yeah.
And they should be.
Well,
that is funny.
Yeah, I mean, how long has it been? 20-some years since they've even made a championship game? So it's been a long, long time since they've even made a championship game. Not even a Super Bowl. Championship game.
So all you viewers out there, just make sure that you just keep away from boosting up the Cowboys like you've been doing all season. Just remember what's happened to you guys in the past and understand who's to blame.
Justin's not wrong there, my little take on that was, obviously that was obviously not the biggest loss, the Cowboys had, but I know that hurt as a Cowboys fan, just watching your team get comebacked on. It's like, it's gonna happen. And, watching Dak fold under pressure yet again and throwing a pick six to end the game. It's just, it's like they're on a spinning wheel. They're on this
Sammy,
wheel
can I just say something
now.
real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not going to blame that pick six on Dak, because if you watch that play, the ball hit the receiver on the arm and it bounced up and it just kind of weirdly landed in somebody's hands. So I'm not going to blame it on that one, but I will just say, it definitely isn't good to have that kind of stuff happen.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing.
I think what Sammy's alluding to right now is the fact that the Cowboys just do this over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's just repetitive, and it's just getting to a point where it's just
you can't really defend that.
It sucks. It just sucks. So, but we're gonna head into the next segment, guys. Obviously, we're pretty good about that. So.
I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. I really am, because
No, you're not. Don't lie. Don't lie to the stream. You're not sorry. You're so happy right now. You're like, man.
You know why?
Cowboys
Listen. Hold on. This is why I feel bad for them. It's because I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and when I see shit, I call it out. We're shit. So The Cowboys are shit as well. I'm not gonna sit here and act like everything's pretty for America's team. It's
and
not.
and that's probably going to be a
And,
matchup right there, as long
and
as the
it's sad
Bucks at
too
least
because
win 2 of these games.
it's sad too because
Jeez.
you guys are good on paper.
No, they
Legit.
are.
Like you guys
No,
are
they
good
are.
on paper.
They have a really good team on
Well,
paper.
This if you guys have a Super Bowl team that's gonna win it, it's this team right now. If they don't win it this year, I don't see you guys winning in the next 5 years.
Well, I just have one more thing to say about this, and then we can move on.
Go for it.
If anything has shown me from this past weekend, it's that having an elite quarterback that can play off script and can get you in a clutch situation a win. That's the one thing that I think Cowboys fans are worried about is can Dak Prescott in the biggest moments get them a win? Because we saw from last year, they couldn't even execute a last-minute drive to get down the field to get the game-winning field goal or tie game field goal, whatever it was. And that's just the one thing that's really going to hold them back, if anything, is their quarterback.
Yep.
So if that's one thing that can win them the game in the biggest moment, then I think that they can make it to the Super Bowl. But if with Dak's limitations, if he can't do it in the biggest moment, then that's really what's going to hold him back for years to come.
And I mean, everyone's was super high on Dak Prescott when he got that extension. Everyone was like, "Yo, like." Cowboys fans were all happy, and I was just like, I wasn't really happy for them. I was more of like kind of disappointed because they spent a lot of money on this guy that was, remember, came in the league as a backup. So I don't know. I'm already set. I have my mindset on the Cowboys, to be honest, and I don't think anybody can change my opinion otherwise until they show me something.
All right, but we're going to head into this next topic, guys. So the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is uncertain to play Saturday against Dallas Cowboys because of a sprained shoulder that he suffered during Sunday's victory over Chicago Bears. By the way, this is breaking news. So should the Eagles fans be concerned about this news? And will the Eagles be able to overcome this injury against the Cowboys only if, Hurts is unable to play? We'll hear you guys' take, and I'll be back.
Go ahead, Webby. I want to hear your take first.
Yeah, it's definitely not good news for the Eagles fans. But, I mean, I don't think to me, it's not something that they need to be worried about. As an Eagles fan, if you think and you believe that Hurts is like the main reason why you guys have had success, then you're probably worried. But if you don't believe that he's the primary responsible person for that and that they have like a really good offensive line, have a really good receiver core, and a good running game, plus not to mention their coach and defense, then you're really not worried. And I think it's going to show a lot to the fact that if the main reason they've had success is because of their team and not just Jalen Hurts, then it's going to show this weekend. So pretty much what I'm getting to is I don't think they should be worried about this news. I think that if they're smart and he is injured, they'll just sit him because, I mean, they are like 2 games ahead of them. So it's not like it's going to hurt them playoff-wise or in terms of like their standings. But I think it will definitely show a lot about the Eagles and overall their entire depth at every position. So, and maybe it'll expose them. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see.
Webby, I'm with you on this one. I believe you're completely correct. I 100% agree with you on the fact that they should be scared if he's the one who carries them, and if he's the one who doesn't carry them, then the Eagles team should win this, even if he sits them out. So, I'm with you on this, but I am saying that Jalen Hurts, man. Let's see. Let's see if this team can do something and show everyone if it is MVP caliber or not.
Right.
And this is what's going to show everyone whether or not if he deserves that MVP title or if he does not, and it's that team that's helping him put these numbers up.
Exactly. I mean, and it's not.
I mean, half the time it looks like he's throwing it up in the air to AJ Brown.
I mean, it's not to say that he hasn't been a responsible factor for like extending plays, making stuff happen with his arm, and throwing the ball in the correct window. But I think if you put Brock Purdy in that offense, I think that they're still good. Like with the talent
I'm
they
with you on that
have.
too.
So not to take anything away from Jalen Hurts because I think he's still a good player. But it's funny that when we talk about MVP and we don't have to get to that, but it's like we always just look at the best team with the best record and then their quarterback, and then it's just immediately what we talk about.
I agree with you on that, and it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah,
It
so
shouldn't be the case. I mean, I'm
yeah.
looking at Josh Allen. It's been proven something, so he maybe deserves a little bit of treatment, a little bit of love in those standings because as of right now, it's Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen.
Yeah,
and probably that exact same order.
exactly.
Josh Allen might have overtaken Patrick Mahomes for that second place title, but
Well, I think he's still there, but I mean, I just don't think that not Dallas, Eagles fans should be worried. I think Dallas fans should be worried because they just lost last week to Jacksonville. So
yeah,
I think it's just going to say a lot about their team and a lot about Dallas, really, too. If Jalen Hurts isn't playing and they lose to the Eagles, I would definitely be worried.
I mean, just here, Webby, what two teams do I hate the most this year? I'm sure you can just name this. What two teams do I hate the most? Out of all the podcasts,
Eagles and Cowboys. I'll just say.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. Thank you. Okay, so everyone knows I don't really have a vendetta against them. I have a vendetta kind of against how their teams ran and if they prove themselves in the playoffs or not. And I'm a big guy over that statement because if they do not, I cannot say that they're going to win it all. If they prove it and show me they can get it done in the playoffs, then I will root for them to win it. As of right now, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Good takes, guys. Good takes. My take on that is obviously, yes, I believe that this is going to be very, very detrimental to the Eagles if they do end up, not having.
But
Jalen
Sammy's
Hurts
also the guy who's going
playing.
for Jalen Hurts for MVP. So this is biased.
I do.
Totally biased.
I do have. All right. Listen. No.
Listen to me.
No. I'm not gonna listen to you because I'm the one. Hey, wait. You interrupted me. You interrupted me. No. You interrupted me,
dude. You have to understand that you're high on Jalen Hurts going for MVP, but you understand. I told you last week if you're high on him, you better understand the fact that it might be that team. This week we'll get to see it if they sit him out. If they don't sit him out, you can keep on saying it, but let's for now give it a chance for him to sit out and see somebody else in that position. And if you're wrong on this, I will call you out next week. So please speak the truth.
All right, I am going to speak the truth. I think that Jalen Hurts, if he doesn't play, they lose. That's my take. Easy. Done. Right. So that is my take on it. And if he does sit out and they somehow come out with the win, you guys can flame me all you guys want next week. But I'm going to tell you right now.
Dude, I learned my lesson with the 49ers on Jimmy Garoppolo getting injured. I learned my lesson because they still won, and they won by a large amount.
Okay, but they're two complete different teams. Fair
enough.
San Francisco. When Webby brought up Purdy there, I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's no way he would step into that position and still play just as good as he is right now in San Francisco. I'm gonna just say it right now. There is no way in hell he steps into that position and does the same thing that he's doing in San Fran. If he didn't have that O-line that he has, if he didn't have I'm telling you right now, there is no way he would step into that position
as soon as this MFer came back and showed his face again, instantly high on the Eagles, just going for it, full on argument.
I'm backing Jalen Hurts. I'm backing Jalen Hurts. I picked him.
If he wants to stick with this, he can.
Right here.
if he wants to stick with it, he can. I mean, at least he's consistent about it. That's all I gotta say. So, I mean, I think we could just leave it at that, Sammy. We could just move on to
Yeah.
standings and stuff.
So let's,
And we'll
let's
just-
go. Yeah, that's fine. So on to the next segment, guys. We're going to talk about standings this week, matchups, and Monday Night Football. So real quick, as the standings say, so we have the Buffalo. So these are the people right now that have clinched the playoff berth or just clinched the division. So right now we have Buffalo Bills. We have the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC. That's the only teams, by the way, the AFC. There's only been 2. And then for NFC, we got the Eagles, we have the Cowboys, we have the Vikings, and we have the 49ers. So all 4 of those teams have clinched
Except
for
us.
the end. Yeah. Yeah. So the Bucks are still in that problem right now where the other 3 teams have 5 wins and they're only 1 win back. Now, the only thing that's good for the Tampa, right, is that or New Orleans, if they tie us, we win outright because we already beat them twice. Atlanta Falcons, we've already beat them once. That doesn't mean we can't lose week 18, the last week, and then end up somehow giving them the playoff spot. So that could happen. And then for the Carolina Panthers, they already beat us once. So we can't lose to them again. If we lose to them again, I don't see us making the playoffs. And it's really sad to see because, after this past week, man, it really hurt my heart. It hurt my heart watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fold in that second half. It was so bad. I had to literally just shut off for a little bit because I was getting upset.
And just imagine,
I'm like, why am I getting upset? Why am I getting upset right now? This is what they've been doing.
And imagine being a Colts fan right now. What they got to be going through.
Yeah. So when I looked at that and I was like, it's not as bad as I think. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so that's the teams right now that have clinched. The people that have already been eliminated are the Texans, the Broncos, the Chicago Bears, and the Arizona Cardinals. Those teams have been eliminated and will not be able to make the playoffs. Are you guys shocked by any of the call-outs I said, or does all that make sense?
No, I'm not shocked.
No, I just think it's this year in particular. Just seems like the race is just never over.
No,
like I feel like it's just going to be like week 18. That's when it's going to decide.
Yeah, like over the past couple of years, you notice that there's no really change in the leaderboards. Everyone's just staying put.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like spots. If Miami loses next 2 weeks, they could be out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Jets could be in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs like a couple weeks ago.
The Lions,
looking pretty good. Yeah, Lions. I mean, they go from
the Commanders.
Yeah, the Lions, the team that Webby was being like, hey, this team that has 5 wins, watch what they will do. And Webby's been on point. So you know what, Webby? I'll give you that. They've been on point lately. So
Lions are dangerous. Lions are dangerous.
They could come back and somehow still secure a spot. So that'd be awesome to see. That'd be really awesome.
Very surprised on them on that comeback, man.
So the last 6 weeks, the Lions are 5-1,
getting to 500.
They're like 5-1, and the only team that they've lost to was the Bills, and it was by 3 points.
Yep.
So I mean, that just goes to show like how dangerous they could really be. If they make the playoffs, they could potentially be a team you don't want to play. So
that offense is crazy. That offense is what makes them move. So we've been seeing it since the beginning of this year. It's just a lot of unfortunate games there because of their defense. A lot of unfortunate games, but that's the reason why they're 7-7. I still think they're a better team than we are right now, or the Cowboys. I think they might fight and get a playoff spot, and they'll have to take out the Commanders for it. So we'll get to see.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the that tiebreaker that happened this past week with the Giants and the Commanders, it looks like the Giants came on top this week. That was crazy. So congrats to the Giants on that. I know that was big for them, and it really sucks to be Commanders fan because I had high hopes for them because of all that.
So did everyone else.
Energy they had and all of the they were just looking pretty good with Heineke, and I'm not gonna lie, they were looking really good. But at the end of the day, they end up folding.
Did you guys by chance watch the pregame to Sunday night? Did you guys see the announcers just everyone going for the Commanders? Like everyone, it was so like one-sided. The only person who chose the Giants winning was Tony Dungy.
Yeah, I mean, if that game was crazy though,
Hall of Famer.
That game was crazy.
Everyone else was wrong.
That ending to that game that was wild. Like the penalty that overturned the touchdown,
and then
because of the offsides or something from McLaurin, even though he said like, "Hey, I'm on the line," and then the ref was like, "Yep, you're good." And then the no call pass interference that was like blatant.
Yeah,
like just a crazy ending. I mean, it's heartbreaking for a Washington fan, but kudos to the Giants. Though I mean, they play really well.
They're going to be bringing
coached.
that play with Samuel up for the longest time, man. All off season, if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be saying that.
Oh, you unplugged your mic.
You unplugged your mic.
You unplugged your mic.
But I think what he's pretty much trying to say is if they don't come back, like they had that chance to come back, and with the Commanders, not ended up winning that game, it's gonna be real tough for them to even come back to make a playoff run. So Justin's experiencing technical difficulties because he's unplugged his mic, which is really unfortunate. So he's gonna have to figure that one out. Webby?
I'm looking at Washington's schedule, and they got the 49ers, the Browns, and then the Cowboys to finish their season. So it's not looking really good. I mean,
that was the Commanders.
Yeah, that was Commanders.
Oh, yeah, that's a low blow right there for sure, because I felt like they would really had to take so I felt like they really had to beat those Giants there, because now it's gonna really look bad for them. But Justin, if you want to continue on what you were saying, you can go ahead.
I mean, I just lost what I was saying completely there, to be honest. I was solely focused on fixing my mic. But yeah, I mean, just as a recap, like that completely sucks for that team, like that could have been, they could have been 6th seed. And the Giants could be 7th seed right now with that call. So it's a possibility that game would have went into overtime, and then it's up in the air. We've seen it with overtime this year. Usually the person who gets the, first ball doesn't always win. And usually over the years, we've been like, okay, so the person who gets the first, gets the kickoff and wins the toss, wins that game. But now it's like anything can happen, and a field goal can win in overtime. So, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, indeed it is. And also, what's also another thing that's crazy, 49ers is on a 7-win streak right now. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's pretty damn good, especially with the backup quarterback coming in, Purdy, and starting to, that's now 2 weeks in a row now. He's
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yep. He's come back to win, so it's insane. He's pulling wonders over there. So I'll tell you what. I'll say this, man. If they had like an elite quarterback, I think that they would have won the Super Bowl. I don't see any team beating them. I would see any.
It would be out of contest. That team would win it outright.
It would be
I'm sorry, like the Bills are hot and all, the Chiefs are hot and all, but they have no chance against the 49ers if they had a great quarterback.
I 100% agree with both you guys. I mean, that roster is just so well built and is so talented, like up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, just every position is at an elite level, except for the quarterback position, in my opinion. But yeah, and they're really well coached. Really well coached.
Indeed.
I think Justin just unplugged his mic again.
He probably did. That's what he loves to do. But I want to, before we have like 10 minutes, guys, left, so I want to get into these next week's matchups. And we'll start right now with this. Right now, tonight, there's a game going on. So what do you guys think? What are your guys' predictions for tonight? Who do you think comes out with the win tonight? Is it? It doesn't even really matter. I mean, the Rams and Green Bay. Does it really matter? Like,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so hold on. I want to get to what I was saying. Like the last time we saw a team this stacked, it was the Rams last year, and they did what? They won the Super Bowl, and everyone was expecting them to win the Super Bowl because they were just that good.
yeah.
Doesn't mean Matthew Stafford was that piece. So if they can do that with Matthew Stafford, they can do it with Brock Purdy. He's about the same caliber. So, and I know you guys might hate on me because he hasn't really proved himself, but
Yeah,
when you look
he's
at
also
Matthew
a starting
Stafford,
quarterback, and a lot of
he didn't really
quarterbacks
do
get the
as
jibbies
much.
in
He didn't really
playoffs.
do as much. Yes, he had those big long throws against us in Tampa, but I mean, like, dude, they went all out this year to win the Super Bowl, and anybody with eyes can see that.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
let's go into that tonight's game, guys. Who do you guys got winning? I know it doesn't matter too much, so we won't talk about it too long. But who do you guys have winning for tonight's game? Is it gonna be the Green Bay Packers or is it gonna be the LA Rams?
Well, just 1 second. I'm gonna pull up the lines real quick. I don't know if they've shifted at all.
Can you pull up the Webby? Can you pull up who's starting the game? Because I don't think we understand.
who?
Like, because you guys were saying last week that Love might start. Going
I think
forward, so-
I think Aaron Rodgers is still starting.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
Aaron
so-
Rodgers
He
is
hasn't-
still starting.
I was correct. All right.
Because
so-
okay, here's the thing. Here's the updated thing on that. So they're gonna go with Aaron Rodgers while they are in playoff contention. As soon as they're out of playoffs, I think that their notion
be
is to
switching.
move to Jordan Love. So right now they're still in the playoff hunt. They can still make it if they win out.
But they have to win out.
But they have to win out. So if they lose tonight, it could be a different story next week.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have the Packers winning this
Yeah.
game. I have the Packers winning by 10. So that's my call on this game.
What's your game score?
Game score, I have I want to say like 33-23.
This is where I have
I
to.
think it's gonna be a high score.
I'm gonna chime into this. I think it's gonna be even higher.
Wow, higher. All right.
Yes. I think it would be 28 Packers, and I think that the Rams 23. 22.
That's not higher. That's not higher. How is that higher? Do you know math?
The Packers are up there more in score.
I think he's just like, wait a minute, I can't make this too ridiculous.
Dude,
Yeah,
I mean,
wait, wait, wait.
listen, we got Aaron Rodgers versus Baker Mayfield. So I mean, we'll see. But the Packers, they're definitely gonna win this one. There's no way they lose to the Rams. If they lose to the Rams, it's not because of Baker Mayfield, because of Aaron Donald and that defense there creating stops and turnovers. That's the only way I see the Rams winning against the Packers. The Packers, even though they don't have that piece on their roster that for wide receiver, it doesn't mean they're not going to win. You still got one of the most talented quarterbacks on your team. I believe they win this one.
Webby, let's hear yours because we're getting kind of low on time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the same pick of the Packers. I think talent-wise, they have better talent currently starting just because of the injuries with the Rams. I don't know even if Aaron Donald is playing. I haven't really seen anything on him, but I just think defensively, the Packers have the better defense. Offensively, with Aaron Rodgers playing, definitely a better quarterback. So that's why I'm going to pick the Packers. And I think that the score is actually going to be lower. I think it's going to be like a 20-13 game.
Yeah. Now that we have like all of our picks for the game, can we talk about Aaron Donald not retiring last year to play more? People were saying that he was going to retire after that Super Bowl, if you guys remember, and then he decided to play another year. Does he retire after this season?
I think so.
Or does he
It's
get
either
out of the
that,
range?
it's either that, or another team gives him a crazy contract and he goes with it. That's the only way I
Yeah.
see him staying.
So I did hear something interesting about him. I don't know. It was like a little while ago. I don't remember who said it, but I remember hearing that he actually contemplated retirement because not of the fact of he just didn't want to play anymore, but the fact of like I guess fearing like performance anxiety or something because he was on this mantle of being like one of the most elite players, pass rushers, and like he had already proven everything he had to prove, and he didn't, I guess, want to spoil that for some reason. So I don't know. I honestly generally believe he will retire just because I think the Rams are going to kind of be in like a little bit of a
Yeah.
rebuild state a little bit. It's kind of weird to say that, but because like they're going to be losing pieces.
With all the pieces injured, I agree with you there, Webby.
Yeah.
They're definitely in rebuild
And
mode.
I want to hit this real quick. This is also it's also a little real quick. Rivera he's not switching out the quarterback for the Commanders. He's still gonna have Heineke play. He's saying that he wants him to at least get back on track. Now, if he doesn't get back on track, they're saying they put in Carson Wentz. Do you guys agree with that, or do you guys think that they should have kept? They should just keep him
I
healthy for
agree.
the rest of the season.
I agree with that because if he's not performing, you're still in that playoff spot, man. You still got that chance to make those playoffs. If he's turning the ball over in multiple games, you gotta, as a coach, you have to just replace him. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. So, but let's make this real quick, guys. I want to talk about this coming weeks. 2 games. Honestly, I just really want to talk about big games for me. Is the Jags and the Jets are going to be versing off in Thursday night football. So that's going to be a really good game to watch. I'm definitely going to be watching that. I don't know about you guys. Yeah. That's going to be a great game. Who do you guys think that needs to win that? No matter what, who do you guys think needs to win? In order for them to.
Well, I mean, it's easy. The Jets have to win that, otherwise they could fall out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
It's pretty easy.
I think that if Jacksonville does end up winning, though, they do have a real shot to not only make the playoffs but also win their division because like Tennessee has been kind of falling off a little bit. I think they're only like 7-7 right now. So
yeah,
I think it's important for Jacksonville just as much as it is for the Jets. It's kind of like one of those in between
they're only
things.
one game back. They're only one game back right now.
Yeah, but I mean, one team was number 1 for a while. So if they were number 1, top 3, and they've fallen and they've strung together so many losses, Zach Wilson just off target completely. We see these throws just like, what is he doing? He's like throwing it way behind the receivers. It just feels like watching these games is scary. I feel like I'm watching like a Jameis, but like a pocket passer kind of like middle field Jameis.
Yeah.
This Zach Wilson guy loves doing it down the middle.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest pass.
Yeah. He doesn't make the easy passes either. He likes to do the flashy, throw it like 50 yards on the field play. He doesn't like he can't make those easy, just like dump down throws for some reason. It's just weird.
Yeah, it seems to happen. And obviously, this is going to be the game of the week. And obviously, you guys know Eagles and Cowboys.
Yeah.
So if Jalen Hurts does end up playing, who do you guys got winning?
I mean, I'm going to say Eagles only because of the recent weird things about the Cowboys. The only way I see the Cowboys winning is if they get after the quarterback, get after Jalen Hurts, and then establish a good dominant running game. Mm-hmm. But I think the Eagles roster is just a little bit more talented.
Score?
Well, this kind of looks like a 27-24 game to me.
27-24 game. All right. I'm going to mark that down. 27-24. 24 game, Eagles and Eagles favorite. Justin, what do you have, my man?
With these defenses being elite, as everyone's planning and saying they are, there's no way it gets above even 20 points. If these defenses are as good as everyone's saying, it shouldn't get above 20 points this game. So I'm not talking as a whole. I'm talking as per team. I believe it's going to be 17 to 17-10. Eagles up. Eagles up by a
Wow.
touchdown.
Here's the interesting part, though. Just to throw that out there. Right now, currently, where the spread is set, Dallas is a 6-point favorite for this game. Meaning they're favored to win because of the recent Jalen Hurts news and stuff. So
That's true.
just keep that in mind. I mean,
I
you can't sleep
I
on the
still,
Cowboys.
I still think he powers through. That's what I'm thinking.
I just
he
think
powers
that
through and he still
if
plays.
Jalen Hurts sits, which he should sit, that Eagles team still wins. Dak Prescott, the Cowboys, they're not going to get it done against this team if they just lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars after, him creating that turnover.
Right. And then
I have the
Eagles winning as well. 23-17, so only a 6-point difference. But like I said, as long as Jalen Hurts plays, I believe that the Eagles should win that. I don't think they lose to the Cowboys, especially after that loss that Cowboys just had. So, but yeah. Are you but that is all the time we have, guys. So we've gone a little over an hour. Didn't want to take too much. Obviously we could talk about much more things, but hopefully we can hit that maybe next podcast. We should be streaming hopefully Wednesday or Thursday next week. We'll be looking at. We'll take a look and see what we can arrange to see what we can do. But also, big news, guys. I'm just going to be probably moving my podcast to YouTube only and try to separate my gaming content from my podcast content so we can keep that separate. And then also, we're still in the making of making a YouTube channel, all three of us, so we can go ahead and start getting that uploaded. But until then, we still have to come up with a good name and stuff. So we are taking people's suggestions on names. So if you guys have any good names, just tell us or let us know, and we'll consider it for sure. But until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. It's been Webby. We got Justin and myself, Sammy_NCR. You can follow them, by the way, on Twitter. And Justin, I think he's on Twitch. He's on Twitch as well. So you can follow them on their Twitter. That should be their Twitter names. And then that's my Twitter name, YouTube name, and Twitch name. Everything's Sammy_NCR for me. Keep it plain and simple. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Peace. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yep. Happy